2, drink water. Don't drink and drive.
Game over!
Take it light. Okay.
Now you're more fluent.
He's got 3!
Up, Bears. So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Welcome back to Texas Rangers with the Boys. We are the Boys, your daily Texas Rangers podcast by a couple of pro wrestlers who love Rangers baseball. And hey, we want to thank you for making us the first listen of your day. This is your boy Kev, aka YBK, Kevin Frazier. And man, oh man, we just had a throwdown, shindig, blowout, extravaganza down on the farm with the boys, top 10 episode, and it was probably going to be the episode of the year for our minor league content. We'll tell you a little bit about that later. And then we've got Rangers box scores to go over with that series with Cleveland. Man, Cleveland is a heck of a good team. We've also got some Rangers injury updates, and that's about all. We don't have a packed agenda today, but we're still going to talk Rangers. And we're still going to talk baseball because that's what we do. Just a quick reminder, if you didn't remember, though, your 2023 or your 2024 Rangers are still the defending World Series champs. That banner will hang for all the rest of our lives. Because if they can't take a banner away from the Astros, then they dang sure can't take away that banner from the Rangers. As always, don't forget to check us out on social media, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check out that website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word.
You can also check us out right here on YouTube on the Sports Fluent Network. All you got to do is search Texas Rangers with the Boys, and we will pop up. Hit that subscribe button, and you can see our made-for-radio faces. Joining me, as always, my co-host, the 300-pound animal, a.k.a. Bull. How you doing, buddy? And I'm sure they can find you on social somewhere.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. You know, like not great, not bad. I mean, the Down on the Farm show tonight, though. I mean, if you don't subscribe and you listen every day, you should be subscribed to listen to that top 10 list because it ain't nothing like the MLB top 10 list. I guess the first one is the same.
Right.
But for the most part, I mean, I'm a little bit different on my top 10. I'm not just, sitting at the Jim Callis foot of the bed listening to him under his storytelling tree. He ain't Terry Funk, bro.
Well, and
like,
you're not giving free passes either. You're not going to
no. And I think that maybe he, his ideas on some things are different than mine, but I think we all like the same players, and it's not a disrespect to be put inside a top 10 with a pretty loaded top 10 this year. I mean, I think that the Rangers organization is a little bit better than people give them credit for. And I think these international signings over the course of the last couple of years, after such disappointment with Byron Laura and him not, even making it out of the Dominican and, not having a great with all the kids from Jamaica, the Bahamas,
right,
that didn't make it through the
and
system.
Then the guy that got released for like the personal stuff that
that's Byron Laura, who was supposed to be like Joey Gallo power, and so hopefully that kid's got his life straightened around and he can find some baseball somewhere for him. He's way too young to be, exiled for a mistake, I think, in my opinion. But at the same time, it's been a real bummer for the Rangers and not having good international prospects that have been really taken over and taken off. And, even Maximo Acosta isn't exactly the big time player that they were hoping he was when they gave him $4.5 billion a couple of years ago. But I really think that Wolfran Castillo, I really think that Paulino Santana, and I really think that Curly Martha are all going to be big league ball players. And I'm starting to get the idea that Daniel Flamas is going to be a big league baseball player too. The more I see him play at the Dominican. And real quick, while we're talking about it, the Dominican Summer League Red team is playing in the semifinals again this morning. So if you got some time this morning, if you're listening real early and you're looking for something to do right after you listen to the show, go on over there to the MILB package and pick up that Boston or that Red Sox Rangers Dominican Summer League semifinal game this morning.
Well, as we can all tell, you're pumped about the minor leagues because you didn't even tell us social media or even.
Oh, yeah. Manimal Bull on Twitter, Instagram, Manimal300, and both Facebook and TikTok at Bull Pro. I also have to remind everybody, before we start talking about Rangers baseball, that Friday, October 18th at the Martin House Brewing Company on Sylvania and 121 on the east side of Fort Worth, Matt War Pro is back with their second anniversary show. 2YA.
Yeah, I was like, it's something, two something another.
2YA, yes. Yeah. Second year anniversary. Second year anniversary. It's going to be a big time, big dog collar match in the main event. Looking forward to seeing if one of my two guys can get out of there with the heavyweight championship or with the Trinity River Heritage title. I'll be there as well. I plan on doing something. Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to end up having to cancel that because I'm going to go to Illinois and Michigan and Champaign on October 18th with our good buddy John Richeski.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't make it to Michigan, Fresno State with us and decided to give us his tickets for that. So I'm going to meet him up in Champaign on October 19th, and we're going to go to the big Illinois-Michigan game at Memorial Stadium in Champaign.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple of years. It's been a couple of years since Illinois and Michigan have played each other, but maybe they'll kind of get that rivalry going back again with all those teams on the West Coast and East Coast of the Big Ten now.
Well, and it's going to be quite the year for the Wolverines coming off of the national championship, but all the other controversy that they've got going on. But it's going to be a blast. Next week, yeah. We're going to be up at the Big House.
Absolutely. Also, just to let everybody know that we're going to go check out King High School football on Friday night in downtown Detroit. So we'll be looking at the Detroit River, watching high school football. The Bullman's going all the way to Detroit just to watch a high school football game with us. So, I mean, that's commitment to high school football that the Bullman has.
Well, and he'll have stories to tell, which is why we do half of what we do, the experience and then the story that you have to tell. Well, let's talk some Rangers news. We both kind of are in agreement. This Josh Spore's rehab assignment is making us a little nervous.
A little nervous, yeah. But again, I mean, first time back out. The idea is to get him out there and throw pitches. It isn't exactly him to go out there and, blow everybody by and get outs. I mean, you'd like that, of course. Obviously, that's the point of baseball is for a guy like Josh Spores to get outs, and we've seen him get plenty of outs for the Rangers the last couple of years, but this year has been kind of a struggle. It's been rotator cuff. So seems to be a trend. Seems to be like, I mean, in my opinion, I'm not saying shut him down. I'm not saying don't try and get him back ready for the end of the season or anything like that. But at the same time, man, there isn't any rush, and it's been the same thing all season long. It isn't like it's going from one place to the other. So let's try and get that rotator cuff in the spot that it needs. I imagine he's had all the tests done that show that it probably doesn't need surgery. But at the same time, you want to make sure that Josh Spores is healthy because right now we're looking at a team that's 11, 12 games under 500 and, not pushing really for anything right at the moment. So you don't want to see Josh Spores get to a point where he's having some sort of surgery now and you're going to lose him for a year and you won't have him at all next year either, and you'll only get about 12 innings from him this year. So that's hopefully not the case. Hopefully Spores, they find out what's going on. Hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully it's just a little bit of fatigue and he needs to just, put it together.
Yeah, and Astros right now up 3-0 in their game. Mariners win today. So Rangers looking like they're going to lose a game. The Astros are playing the Orioles, so we know anything can happen.
Anything is possible, but yeah.
But they're up 3-0 right now. So, for the Rangers, the last thing I want, because I feel like Spores is like a guy who's, after last season was kind of on the ascent. And it's funny, you can just tell when a guy has kind of figured out he knows what he's doing. Like he knows his game out there and he knows how to get guys out at the big league level. Took Spores a while to get there, but I feel like he knows. And I just think all he's got to do is all he needs is just to be healthy.
Well, yeah, I mean,
guy.
in 2022, I want to say it was, whenever they first signed him and brought him over from the Dodgers, when the Dodgers kind of just ran out of patience with him. He was really good in the back end of the bullpen, even though it was a small sample size. He was really good. And then 2023 was kind of or 2022, 2021 was the first year here. Yeah, so that was, he was pretty good out of the bullpen. 2022 was kind of a nightmare. And then 2023, he had good moments and bad moments. And then kind of at the end of the year, it seemed like he got healthy and he had everything kind of figured out. He came into the season healthy. Everything was looking pretty good. And then ever since he's had the rotator cuff problem, the velocity's been down. There hasn't been the sharp break on the slider, and the curveball has still been a pretty good curveball. So I don't want to, it's not that his pitches have been bad. It's just they haven't been with the sharpness that we expect from Josh Force.
Right. It's just a guy I want to see. I just want to see a full season of him healthy because, again, I think he's kind of figured out who he is as a pitcher, and he knows what he's doing out there, and he could be a major asset to this Rangers.
Oh, and the Rangers having him every night in the seventh inning would have completely changed the season. A healthy him in the seventh inning every night, I mean, the whole season, the whole complex of the season would be completely different. The biggest issue the Rangers had all season was getting outs in the seventh inning, and that would have been what Spores would have done had he been healthy. And you could really see and you could really tell, and one of the guys that tried to fill the gap, he's trying to get back healthy too here. Yeah,
Jacob Latz had a couple of games at Double-A thus far. Hasn't looked great. I mean, we don't know what he's trying to do out there either, but hasn't looked great. But it's good to see him out there throwing, and it looks like he's kind of well on his way back to the big leagues.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, really, at this point, anybody is better than some of the pieces that are out there, right? I mean, anything would be better than Walt Pittington,
Keller, what's his name?
Yeah, everybody's kind of just fallen off. I mean, nothing really. Grant Anderson hasn't been very good. It hasn't been a very good showing outside of Robertson and Yates, really, for the Rangers bullpen this season, and it continues to happen almost every time. I mean, Chafin's been okay, but not anything that came in and helped the seventh inning like he was supposed to at the trade deadline. And like you said, and we've said this on the show, that trade deadline for the Rangers was a disaster, because if we would have known they were coming out of the trade deadline and playing like this, there was absolutely no reason not to get rid of a handful of those guys that are on expiring contracts. I mean, that's literally the point of having those around. I mean, especially when you're signing guys on 1 years. I don't know, just interesting tactic from CY there. I mean, I know he wants to win and all of that stuff, and we all want to win, but at the same time, you got to be smart too. I mean, this guy's a Ivy League scholar or whatever.
Let's pop the brakes a little bit on the best general manager the Rangers have ever had in their organization. But I will say this:
I didn't say that. I said he's supposed to be this genius, and some of the moves he makes are really, really questionable, to say the best. And it's been, both years here these last couple of years.
Well, I'll say this: the Robbie Grossman. I mean, yeah, and Robbie Grossman was kind of the one this year because I felt like we gave up a player that really could have possibly been pitching for this thing down the stretch this year or even next year in Bubba, aka Hoopy Tua Natoa.
Well, you had to make a decision on putting him on the 40-man this off season. I mean, not that that's a big deal. It still doesn't justify going to get Robbie Grossman with that. I thought they could do better.
Well, and you would have been able to make some 40-man roster moves had you made a few trades with some of these expiring contracts this year, and could have done a few different things. But again, hindsight's always 20/20.
Absolutely.
The Rangers have been trying to give the fans what they want. To the bet, I say the Rangers. I'll say this: the front office, Chris Young and Bruce Bochy, have tried to give the Rangers what the fans are owed, which is a competitive team coming off of a world championship, and kind of coming to the gunfight with 4 in the chamber instead of 6. has made it a little tough for them, but it is what it is, right?
Well, and really, I don't think that this team for 1 second accounted for the injuries that they would have. They didn't account for the idea that guys would be down and that they would need offense from different places, and it just it's been a little bit of a rough go. I guess that's much more than anything else. It hasn't been. Like, I mean, is it a disaster? Probably not, but it isn't a great season, and the Rangers knew that they had a season to draw with having the World Series championship. They sold a ton of tickets in December and January this year. And, so at the end of the day, I mean, they didn't put the product on the field that we would have liked to have seen. But at the same time, I mean, on paper, this looked like a highly competitive team going into the season. And even with the rotation deficiencies, they got a lot of good rotation work from guys that we weren't going to expect that from. So, on paper, this was a good team, and it just didn't end up working out that way.
Yeah, hasn't ended up working out that way thus far, and the whole kind of the up in the air thing with the TV deal and all of that stuff was really unfortunate, and let's hope that that's not something that carries on into this.
Kind of real quick on that topic, you're kind of starting to see this new project that the Dallas Mavericks are working on, because they're dropping from Bally's in the next couple of months. Like, they're not going to be on Bally's at all this year. So the Mavericks are working on something. The Stars have already kind of put themselves in a position to where they have something that now is just ready for the Rangers to do that same thing and put together something that'll end up being viable. I really think that if they have a highly affordable application that you can watch the games on, just based on the fact that it's so hard to find them on cable TV and with Bally's and all that. If it's less than $20 for the season, or between $20 and $50 for the season, they shouldn't have any problem selling it.
Yeah, I would definitely. There's definitely no. I mean, I spend $100 a month just to have Bally.
Like, yeah, and I don't watch any other cable.
I don't either. You don't either. We watch the Rangers.
Literally, yeah. I know I got a yeah, I just watched the Rangers and then the Mavericks in the winter, and yeah.
So who's the Mavericks? So what's the kind of the deal that these teams are going with? What's the details?
Well, it looks like it's going to be like a streaming service to where you can just get in for a certain price, and then you just watch the Mavericks live stream throughout the year on your TV. Like, it'll just be an application in your Roku or on your smart TV or whatever the case may be. And I'm all for that. If the Rangers decide they want to do the same thing, I'm for that too.
Yeah, I think the product is extremely valuable, and it's way more stable than some of the other products out there that I've seen companies bargain on. I was joking, kind of, but kind of not joking. I mean, both of us kind of having a wrestling background, like with Warner Brothers. I mean, if they're going to pay all that money for AEW wrestling, I mean, for God's sakes, why would you not get a baseball team that's the world champion, drawing tons of millions of viewers in a huge market like DFW? I mean, you got to think there's suitors out there.
Well, I mean, and I think the big thing would be like trying to figure out how you could get as many of those markets as you can, right? If you're like Warner Brothers or something like that.
Yeah, I think
if you could snatch up 8 markets and one of them be like LA or something like that, you're in a good way.
Yeah, no, that would be amazing.
If you get Dallas and LA and maybe one other big city, Chicago, one of the Chicago teams or one of the New York teams, I mean, it'll be all over. Like, it'll be the end. Like, that's how it'll be done.
Well, and there's teams with expiring contracts with Bally's this year that are probably going to be, going to the highest bidder. So do we want to talk Jacob deGrom today, or do we want to save it?
Nah, we got an off day tomorrow, so let's save it. It'll pitch Tuesday, and we'll talk about it. We'll preview it a little bit.
So we'll talk a little bit of Jacob deGrom tomorrow. We'll also talk about an exciting possible starter for Tuesday's game. So we'll talk about those two things tomorrow. So some Rangers pitching talk tomorrow for sure. But we've already mentioned a couple of times our exclusive content Down on the Farm with the Boys, where we cover all things Rangers minor league. Just in the bag, over an hour and a half worth of content in terms of minor league stuff for you guys on our most recent episode. We did our top 10 prospects in the organization, Not only that, but we also talked about 11 prospects that didn't make the list. And some of these guys are major leaguers, bona fide, going to play in the big leagues and get a crack at a major league roster, whether it's with the Rangers or somebody else. So we covered 21 players on this most recent episode. And man, it was just a couple guys talking baseball, being excited about the team that we love and being excited about this organization and the future of this organization. Man, the Rangers have some very young players on this in this minor league system. And that's probably a little bit of the reason why the ranking might be so low. But, at the end of the day, next year they could be ranked. They could be in the top 10 again if a handful of these guys come out and have really good seasons, especially the younger guys moving into, the high A and the double A and all of that good stuff. So,
and if you want some good news, Kev, Houston just blew that 3-run lead.
It's always good news when Houston blows a lead. And again, Baltimore is one heck of a team, and I'll probably jump on that bandwagon if the Rangers find themselves out of playoff contention because can't help but like the core of that team. And even though and of course John Smoltz is going to be the happiest guy in the world apparently if Baltimore wins in the playoffs, because all he did last year during the Rangers sweep of Baltimore was talk about how great Baltimore was. And this year, all he did was talk about how the Rangers did Baltimore a favor by sweeping them last year out of the playoffs. So, I just want to see Baltimore get it. So everybody shut up. But anyways, how we're talking about Baltimore in a Down on the Farm with the Boys commercial, I don't know, but go over to our website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word.
Or you can check it out right on our Spotify page. Just click the little subscribe button. $1.99 a month. Make us your one-stop shop for all things Rangers, organization-wide. I'm telling you right now, you won't regret it. These last 4 weeks have been a blast, and we're just going to keep having fun because minor league season is not over. We got minor league playoffs coming up, and we're going to go around the league and talk about the best position player and pitcher at each level. And it just keeps going on, and the Rangers have a lot to talk about. So go check it out. You won't regret it. Let's talk about this weekend series with Cleveland at Cleveland. Rangers played some competitive baseball for two of the 3 games. And then, kind of had their rollover game there in the middle. And, Rangers take the opener and then drop 2 in a row. At Cleveland. Yeah. It's a good team, man.
Yeah, Cleveland's a really good team. Those Naylor boys are pretty good ball players, and they got a bunch of guys. Jimenez is a pretty good player. We didn't tie Jose Ramirez might be the best third baseman in baseball, and Lane Thomas has had some troubles, but he's a good ball player, and they got a pretty good group of guys. And remember Quan in the beginning of the year, they were like, can he hit 400? Remember that? And now it's like, can he hit 300? And that shows just how hard baseball is and how humbling it could possibly be and all that stuff. But Rangers had a 4-run second with 2 outs. It looked like they were going to squander second and third and nobody out. And then Leody Taveras came up with a big hit, and Simeon kept things going. And then Seager hit one off the wall that scored 2 more, and the Rangers put 4 together right there. And Eovaldi was bend but don't break. It gave up a couple of runs here and there. He had a run in each of the second, third, and fourth inning, but he came back out and he got shutdowns in the 5th and 6th inning and got the Rangers to the bullpen to use Chafin, Robertson, and Yates out of the bullpen, and it worked out exactly the way they wanted it to. Garcia had a 2-out RBI in the 8th too?
Yeah, 7th.
7th, yeah, to add 1 more on, and the Rangers hold on with a 5-3 victory. Seager really starting to put it together. I mean, if he has a big September, he can really put together a 900 ops.
He could. I would say that big 4-run second. I want to say it was maybe Josh Young that got that thing started. And then Leody Taveras kept it going. They got it to Seager. So I really Simeon and Seager, we kind of talked off air, like they did what they're supposed to do. But hats off.
Langford and Heim had a rough day with runners in scoring position.
They did,
all day
but,
long, yeah.
but if it wasn't for Young and Tavares in that little spot to keep, because really that Tavares hit is what kept the thing going.
Yeah.
And,
Well, it scored. It drove in the 2 runs there. It got those 2 across, and then he was able to steal second.
Yep.
And get the third on the Simeon ground ball that didn't quite make it through the infield, but at the same time put Seager in a position to clear the bases there with the big 2-out double. And then Smith, I believe he popped out or flew out pretty sharply to left center field. It just didn't get down.
Yeah. So, lots of hits hits on Friday. Rangers got 10 hits, 2 walks, again, a couple of doubles there, Garcia and Young, but Rangers really still just having a lot of trouble with the extra base hits this year. Just haven't been quite as prominent as they should be, kind of the best way I can put it. Like, these guys, we've all seen them hit for extra base hits. So it's not like we're talking about players that we don't know about. And I would be willing to say that, Wyatt Langford, the best is yet to come with him. But overall, really Heim has really struggled, man. Like,
it's part of being young, and that's okay. I don't think that the Rangers, like we were saying, the Rangers, Heim will get the writing on the wall with them, drafting a first-round catcher, and they're not real particular about keeping him around. It's not the end of the world if he doesn't end up staying. So, like that happens, and like we talked about off air, is that Heim could be right back to where he was last year, next year, and this is just a blip on who he is and where he's at. But I guess the final there, Eovaldi gets the win, moves to 9-7, and Bybee takes the loss. He's 10-6 now. And Yates with his 23rd save of the year.
Yeah. I also want to point out real quick, probably for the first time all year, or the first time, like, especially since we've had Chafin, but like the Rangers got the 7, 8, 9 that they've been envisioning all year. Each guy went an inning, didn't give up anything, end up just really no drama down the stretch there for the Rangers. Rangers kind of basically, next on Saturday, John Gray pretty much pitched them out of the game within 3 innings. I was trying to stay awake during that game, and then it ended up 8-0, and I was like, I'm like watching it.
No, it definitely did. Yeah, it definitely got out of, John Gray couldn't get anybody out, and that happens. I think the big one was the home run to Noel. That one was the big one. Noel, he reminds me of that guy a couple of years ago from the Padres. Even last year, we talked about him still being in the league. That once the league figures him out, that he probably isn't going to be too long for the league. But you never do know. I don't want to put that hex on him, but he kind of has that feel.
Well, he was a big time minor league player. Like he hit really well in the minors, kind of one of those kind of a streaky kind of dude. But he does get on base, does have good plate discipline, strikes out a lot, like a lot of these young hitters do, but he's got a ton of power. And he's kind of been on the radar for Cleveland for a while now. And, maybe we'll see. We'll see. It's funny. He's just got that swing that's made for when you make a mistake. But
so did Chris Carter. And, there's lots of guys that, now we'll just see if he continues to make contact after he gets to a point where they've kind of figured him out. And that was like, I'm not pulling bad for him or anything like that. Just that's the kind of player he seems like, one of those guys that breaks onto the scene, and then once the pitching kind of catches up to him and figures him out a little bit, he struggles to get back. There isn't a whole lot good to talk about as far as the Rangers. I guess they did have 9 hits, and
if the Rangers don't give up 13, if they don't give up 13 runs there, they scored as many on Saturday as they did on Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So
some of them were late against bad pitchers, but you take them where you can get them.
yeah.
And, I mean, you just can't give up 13 runs and 15 hits and walk 4 batters. I mean, it's too many. 20 base runners is just too much.
Well, and you're down 8-1 going into the fourth. I mean, it's really that's almost like, all right, let's get the backups in.
Yeah, honestly, Pennington, that was probably his best appearance of the season. It wasn't good or anything like that, but he only gave up the 1 earned.
We got 3
Had some strikeouts, so there was some good from Pennington. Anderson, we've probably talked about this. He's not much longer for this team or this league probably. And, he seems like a good dude. And, Dunning's just pitching to eat the rest of the innings because they can't send Anderson back out there to throw 60 pitches.
Yeah, and 3 home runs in 2 innings, man. That feels like they've figured out what is the kryptonite for him. Not a bad game for Langford. Nice to see him get a double and get some slug and get the push the batting average up and get a few have a multi-hit game. Good to see Simeon have a multi-hit game, but all in all, the pitching kind of let the team down a little bit here. Don't know what's going on with John Gray. He is just coming off the IL, so who knows? Who knows what's going on.
We'll see. I don't see him in the rotation much longer. You may start seeing him come out of the bullpen, especially if he's not 100% healthy. But yeah, they killed it over there on the Indian side, and Lively was really good. He worked into the 7th and just gave up a couple of earnies. Did give up 3 runs, but overall, pretty good start for Lively. Got him a quality start, and the Rangers had hit him pretty good when they had played here earlier in the year. So good rebound from him. Not much there to really talk about for the Rangers.
Rapid.
But Lively gets the win. He's 11-8, and John Gray, he'll take that loss and move to 5-5. So not a whole lot good to talk about on Saturday night.
It's funny, right? Like that. If the Rangers come out of this series with just 3 more runs on Sunday, our whole disposition right now might be different because
completely, yeah, no, because you're talking about
3 series in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So you really feel like that. This is kind of if you were to get a microcosm of the year, this is kind of it. It's like just can't get the big win when they need it, can't get the stop when they need the stop, and it just kind of sums up the whole season. I mean, Cody Bradford wasn't. I don't think he was bad. I mean, 5 hits.
He shot himself in the foot there in the first inning, throwing that ball into right field. But other than that, I didn't think, he gave up the home run to Noel, but some of those guys, he's going to get you occasionally. Yeah, also another thing with Noel, he runs pretty well too. That's another thing I noticed with him. Got a pretty good arm and stuff too. So. But the Rangers, just 4 hits, man. Who are you beating with 4 hits?
Yeah, offense was really just kind of not there. You got a bomb from Seager. Seager's out there earning his money. But other than him, you really didn't have much else. Rangers only put 6 guys on base. Just can't seem to generate runs when they need them.
Dumb mistakes too. Leclerc throwing a ball away on a pickoff that ends up turning into a run, and nothing wrong with Festa. He gave up a home run there in the 8th or whatnot, but overall, the Rangers, they just got to be better. And they haven't been, and they haven't scored any runs. And
you just said it. Two unearned runs, is really what cost them this, and that's not what good teams do.
Yeah, and that definitely isn't. And good teams don't roll out 4 hits and a couple of walks and 6 base runners on the day either. And that's just what the Rangers have been doing on a regular basis lately. And you're not going to win a lot of games, especially not with a team like Cleveland, who once you get to their bullpen, it is flat out lights out. Good to see our buddy Austin Hedges continue to go over every time he is in a lineup. Some good things, some things don't ever change. I mean, we're shitting all over Kisner, but Hedges is hitting 148 with a good thing that Naylor kid's good. But Seager hits number 29, so it looks like he's going to break his own left-handed shortstop home run record.
Well, I'd love to see it. And man, go ahead and wrap this thing.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me get up here. Boyd gets the win. He moves to 1-0, and Bradford takes the loss. He's at 4-2, and that is save number 38 for former Ranger great Emmanuel Clase.
Clase with the .60 earned run average. Goodness,
he's out there throwing 101 mile an hour cutter. Like it's
didn't stand a chance. Didn't stand a chance.
No.
It's out. You
know. That ninth inning, those at bats were all just very. Yeah. There wasn't a whole lot of. Even if they did have a clue, they weren't going to get there. So that's just a testament to Clase, man. I mean, it looked like an episode of Star Wars or something in there. But yeah, no, the Rangers drop 2 of 3. They got a day off tomorrow, and we'll get you ready for the Chicago series.
Still mathematically in it.
Yeah. I mean, Houston loses again tonight, and the Rangers aren't feeling too bad at all. So.
Well, let's also too. We've got September call-ups coming up next week, so we might
I think
around a little bit tomorrow too.
That'll be a good idea. And the Rangers are off tomorrow, and then they head into, I believe, Chicago for a 3-game set with the White Sox. So, going to catch Crochet and all of those guys. But as of right now, Heaney's on the hill for Tuesday night, and we'll talk about the Wednesday starter tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, we'll give you guys some. We'll give you guys the preview for that series. We will be off on Wednesday, so tune in tomorrow. We'll talk a little Jacob deGrom. We'll talk about an exciting start, most likely on Tuesday for the Rangers. We'll also talk a little bit about September call-ups. So, going to be a fun episode tomorrow. If you got questions, you want to send. What's that?
You get to add 2 these days.
You get to add 2.
28, right? You can go from 26 to 28.
Yeah, you get a whopping 2. And we'll, if you got questions or, hot takes that you have for the boys, send them on social media, and we'll definitely they'll find their way onto the show. Always a lot of fun hearing from you guys when we don't have a game to cover. So don't forget to check us out tomorrow. Also, don't forget to check us out on social media, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check out that website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word.
Where you can find our exclusive content down on the farm with the boys, where we cover all things Rangers minor league. Big shout out to our farm hands who are dedicated subscribers to it. You help make this show possible, so we want to thank you for that. Also, thank you to our YouTube watchers on the Sports Fluent Network for helping support our Made for Radio faces. I know Manimal doesn't agree with that, but that's okay. For the 300-pound man, this is your boy Kev. We are Texas Rangers with the boys, and we're signing out.